There was one photograph that Ethan Miller kept hidden for 11 years. He never showed it to anyone. Not his friends, not his family, not even the woman standing beside him in the picture. Her name was Charlotte Hayes, and the reason she never saw that photograph was the same reason Ethan had spent 11 years pretending he no longer loved her. Their story began in Charleston, South Carolina, on a warm summer evening. Ethan was 29 and worked as a freelance photographer. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous, but he had one thing he cared about more than anything else: his camera. He believed photographs captured things people couldn't say out loud. Charlotte disagreed. She thought photographs were dangerous. Pictures make people believe a moment will last forever, she once told him. Ethan laughed. Isn't that the point? No. She looked directly into his eyes. The point is to live the moment. That was Charlotte, beautiful, confident, stubborn, and completely impossible to ignore. Ethan first met her at a small bookstore in Charleston. He was taking photographs for a local magazine when Charlotte accidentally walked into his shot. "Excuse me," he said. She turned around. "Are you talking to me?" "Yes." She looked at the camera in his hand. "Why?" "You're standing in my photograph." She crossed her arms. "Then take another one." Ethan smiled. "You ruined the composition." She smiled back. "Maybe your composition needed ruining." He stared at her, then laughed. That was the first time they met. And somehow, it wasn't the last. The next morning, Charlotte walked into the same coffee shop where Ethan was editing photographs. She pointed at his camera. "You." Ethan looked up. "Me? You're the photographer from yesterday." "Unfortunately." She laughed. "Good. I need a favor." "What kind?" "I need someone to take photographs for my sister's engagement party." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You trust me after I accused you of ruining my photograph?" "No," she smiled. "But you're the only photographer I know," Ethan agreed. That decision changed his life. At the engagement party, Ethan kept finding excuses to photograph Charlotte, her laughing, her dancing, her arguing with her brother over cake, her stealing strawberries from the dessert table. At one point, Charlotte caught him. "You're doing it again." "Doing what?" "Taking pictures of me." "I'm working." "You've taken 20 pictures of me. You're very photogenic." She rolled her eyes. "You're terrible at lying." He smiled. "Maybe." That night, they exchanged numbers. 3 weeks later, they were dating. Their relationship was anything but ordinary. They argued about everything: where to eat, what movie to watch, who loved whom more. Charlotte hated Ethan's habit of working late. Ethan hated Charlotte's habit of disappearing whenever she was angry. But somehow, they always found their way back to each other. One night, they were sitting on the beach. Charlotte looked at him. "What do you want your life to look like?" Ethan thought about it. "A little house." "Where?" "Somewhere near the ocean." She smiled. "A dog?" "Definitely." "Children?" "Maybe 2. She laughed. "And a wife?" He looked at her. "Hopefully you." She became quiet. Then she rested her head on his shoulder. "I'd like that." They were happy, until Charlotte received an unexpected job offer. A major fashion company in New York wanted her to become their creative director. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, but it meant moving away. Ethan was proud of her. He told her to take the job. Charlotte asked him to come with her, but Ethan refused. His father was sick. He had promised to stay in Charleston and help with the family business. Charlotte understood. At least, she tried to. The distance was difficult. At first, they called every night. Then every other night. Then whenever they had time. Charlotte became busy. Ethan became frustrated. One evening, Charlotte called him. "Are you angry with me?" "No." "You sound angry." "I'm tired." "Of me." He didn't answer quickly enough. Charlotte became quiet. "Ethan. I just miss you." "I miss you too." "Then come home." "I can't." "Why?" "Because this is my career. And what am I?" She took a breath. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." Ethan felt something break inside him. "Maybe I'm not the one making it hard." Charlotte hung up. They didn't speak for 3 days. Then Ethan received a message. "We need to talk." She returned to Charleston. They met at the same beach where they had once talked about their future. Charlotte was angry. "You stopped believing in us." Ethan looked at her. "I never stopped loving you." "Then why did you make me feel like I was choosing my career over you?" "Because that's what it felt like." She stared at him. "You never asked me to choose. You shouldn't have had to." Charlotte shook her head. "You don't understand." "Then explain it." She looked at him through tears. "I wanted you to come with me. I couldn't." "I know." "Then what's the problem?" "The problem is that I wanted you to fight for me." Ethan became silent. Charlotte continued. "You just let me go." Those words stayed with him. That night, they broke up. Charlotte left Charleston the next morning. Ethan didn't stop her. For months, he regretted it. But life moved on. 11 years passed. Ethan became a successful photographer. His photographs appeared in magazines. He traveled across the country. He photographed weddings, celebrities, and beautiful places. But he never photographed another woman the way he photographed Charlotte. Then one afternoon, he received an email. It was from a gallery in New York. They wanted him to host an exhibition. The theme was simple: people we almost lost. Ethan agreed. He spent weeks preparing, hundreds of photographs. But there was one photograph he kept hidden. A picture of Charlotte, taken on their last night together. She was standing on the beach. The wind was moving through her hair. She was crying, but she was smiling. Ethan had taken the photograph without her knowing. He had never shown it to her. The night before the exhibition, Ethan looked at it for the first time in years. On the back, he had written, "I loved you even when I was angry. I loved you when you left, and I never stopped." The next morning, Ethan arrived at the gallery. Guests began arriving. Then he saw her, Charlotte. She was standing near the entrance, older, more confident, still beautiful. Ethan froze. Charlotte looked at him. "Hello, Ethan." He swallowed. "Hello, Charlotte." She smiled awkwardly. "I heard about your exhibition. You came. I was curious. About the photographs." She looked at him. "About you." Before Ethan could answer, a man walked toward them. Charlotte turned. "Ethan, this is James." James smiled. "Nice to meet you." Ethan shook his hand. "Nice to meet you too." James put his hand on Charlotte's back. Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years: jealousy. Charlotte noticed. She smiled slightly. "You haven't changed." Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" "You still get jealous." "I don't." "You do." He looked away. She laughed. For the first time in 11 years, Ethan heard that laugh again. And suddenly, the past didn't feel so far away. Later that evening, Charlotte walked through the exhibition. She looked at photograph after photograph. Then she stopped. A large black curtain covered one wall. "What is behind that?" Ethan hesitated. "Nothing." She smiled. "You're still a terrible liar." She pulled the curtain aside, and there it was, the photograph. Charlotte stared at it. Her face changed. She stepped closer. It was her, 11 years younger, standing on the beach, crying, smiling, looking directly at Ethan. She whispered, "When did you take this?" "That night. You never showed me." "I couldn't." "Why?" Ethan looked at her. "Because I was afraid." "Of what?" "That if you saw it, you'd know I never stopped loving you." Charlotte stared at him. Then she laughed softly. "You really are an idiot." Ethan smiled sadly. "I know." She touched the photograph. "Do you still have it?" "What?" "The original." "Yes." "Where?" "At home." She looked at him. "Why did you keep it?" Ethan took a breath. "Because it was the last photograph I ever took of the woman I thought I would spend my life with." Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. "Ethan." He looked away. "I don't expect anything from you." She became quiet. Then she said something he never expected. "I was never married." Ethan looked at her. "What?" "James is my brother." Ethan stared at her. "Your brother?" She laughed. "Yes." Ethan covered his face. I shook his hand. Charlotte laughed harder. "You looked like you wanted to punch him." "I thought he was your boyfriend." "He thought you were rude." Ethan laughed. For the first time in 11 years, they both laughed together. Then Charlotte became serious. "Do you know why I came?" Ethan shook his head. "I wanted to see if I still felt something." "And?" She looked at him. "I do." Silence filled the room. Ethan didn't move. Neither did Charlotte. Finally, she whispered, "But I'm still angry." "I know." "You let me leave." "I know." "You didn't fight for me." "I was scared." "You should have told me." "I should have." She looked at him. "Why didn't you?" Ethan's voice became quiet. "Because I thought loving you meant giving you freedom." Charlotte wiped away a tear. "And I thought loving me meant asking me to stay." They stood there, realizing that 11 years had passed because two people had been too proud and too afraid to say what they really wanted.
Charlotte looked at the photograph again. "You know what's funny?" "What?" "I never saw this picture." "I know. You should have sent it. I should have sent you a lot of things." She smiled. "Like what?" "Apologies." "Anything else?" "Letters." "Anything else?" Ethan looked into her eyes. An invitation to come home. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. "Do you still have the house near the ocean?" Ethan smiled. "You remember?" "I remember everything." They walked out of the gallery together. Outside, New York was glowing under the evening lights. Charlotte looked at him. Ethan? Yeah? Do you still want that little house? He smiled. The one near the ocean? She nodded. Yeah. Does it still have room for two? Ethan looked at her. It always did. Charlotte smiled. And this time neither of them walked away. The photograph remained on the gallery wall. Visitors would later call it one of Ethan's most emotional photographs. But nobody knew the real story behind it. Nobody knew that it wasn't simply a photograph of a woman crying on a beach. It was a photograph of two people who had loved each other, lost each other, and somehow found their way back. Charlotte had never seen the photograph for 11 years, but when she finally did, she realized something. Ethan hadn't taken a picture of the woman he lost. He had taken a picture of the woman he never stopped loving. And perhaps that was the greatest twist of all. Sometimes the person you think is gone forever isn't gone. Sometimes they're just waiting for one of you to stop being afraid. And sometimes the photograph you never saw is the one that brings you home.